Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in the room. We're going to give you a couple of seconds before we kick off our show for today. I'm so excited to have you guys here. I'm Zandra Wilson. I'm the Health and Wellness Director for Calvary Baptist Church of Hawthorne, California. And as you know, October is Cancer Awareness Month, and today we're going to kick off with an actual interview of a survivor. You know, I love the survivors. I'm all about the survivors. So, if any of you have any questions or comments, we're encouraging you to put them in the comment section. If you would like to email me, you know the rule. Email me at Zandra. S is in Sam Wilson at yahoo.com. So, again, give you a couple of seconds to come on in before I start. You know, I love starting with videos. So, what we're going to do, because this is Cancer Awareness Month, we're going to start off with a video pertaining to the actual cancer that we're going to talk about and the survivor. So they'll be able to give some insight to the stuff that we're going to look at online. Okay. So again, I can't tell you who our special guest is yet. I'll tell you in a minute. So I'm so excited. But come on in the room, everybody. And again, leave your comments in the comment section. You can email me again, Zandra S. Wilson at yahoo.com if you're uncomfortable leaving your comment in the comment section. And again, today we're going to discuss Hodgkin's lymphoma. So let me go ahead and pull up a video and then I'll bring up our special guest. Hold on, bring up our video here. Okay.
In today's video, we're going to be talking about Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a blood cell tumor which originates from the lymphocytes, which is a type of white blood cell. So the causes of Hodgkin's lymphoma are various, but it can be due to the Epstein-Barr virus, and there are other risk factors as well.
So you can see the very beginning of the video.
So if someone in your family has had Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a blood cell tumor which originates from the lymphocytes, which is a type of white blood cell. So the causes of Hodgkin's lymphoma are various, but it can be due to the Epstein-Barr virus, and there are other risk factors as well. So there could be genetic reasons. So if someone in your family has had Hodgkin's lymphoma, you're more likely to get it. And other risk factors include HIV and AIDS. So there are two groups of Hodgkin's lymphoma. We have the classical type and the nodular lymphocyte predominant Hodgkin's lymphoma. Within the classical group of Hodgkin's lymphoma, there are four types. We have nodular sclerosing Hodgkin's lymphoma, mixed cellularity type, lymphocyte depleted, and lymphocyte rich. So nodular sclerosing Hodgkin's lymphoma is the most common type. It involves the lymph nodes, which contain Reed-Steinberg cells, which are a typical diagnostic tool for Hodgkin's lymphoma. In fact, you can see a diagram of what a Reed-Steinberg cell looks like here. Yeah, so the lymph nodes contain these Reed-Steinberg cells mixed with normal white blood cells as well. The lymph nodes contain scar tissue, which is why it has the name sclerosing. It's more common in women than men, and it affects adults and adolescents under the age of 50. The mixed cellularity type occurs in 20 to 30% of cases, and it's more common in older men. Here we have these Reed-Steinberg cells, but they're mixed with inflammatory cells as well, like eosinophils, basophils, cytokines. And the main cause of the mixed cellularity type is the Epstein-Barr virus. The lymphocyte depleted type is very rare and very aggressive. It consists of large pleomorphic Reed-Steinberg cells. And we have the lymphocyte rich, which has a very diffuse effect throughout the body. But there are still a lot of normal white blood cells and a few typical Reed-Steinberg cells. And the lymphocyte-rich type has the greatest prognosis because there's a very low likelihood of a relapse. The nodular lymphocyte predominant Hodgkin's lymphoma is another type. Here, there aren't any Reed-Steinberg cells present, but we have other abnormal B cells, which are called popcorn cells, and also other small B cells which are found dotted around tissues in a nodular pattern. So in this type of Hodgkin's lymphoma, most of the lymphocytes and the lymph nodes are normal, but there is presence of popcorn cells which are abnormal, and this is a slow progressing form of lymphoma. The signs and symptoms of Hodgkin's lymphoma are tiredness, enlargement of the lymph nodes, which is painless, night sweats, weight loss, itchy skin, enlargement of the spleen, enlargement of the liver, back pain, red patches on the skin, petechiae, which is like small hemorrhages in the skin because of a low platelet count, and fever in some cases. The diagnosis of Hodgkin's lymphoma can be done using a lymph node biopsy. Other methods can be using a PET scan, a blood test, and a gallium scan used to be used, but now it's not used so much anymore. All Hodgkin's lymphomas and non Hodgkin lymphomas are staged to determine which areas of the body are affected. So, stage 1 involves a single lymph node region, stage 2 involves two or more lymph node regions on the same side of the diaphragm. Stage 3 involves lymph node regions on both sides of the diaphragm. And stage 4 involves multiple affected lymph nodes throughout the body. For the treatment of Hodgkin's lymphoma, there are a few different methods. So we have chemotherapy and radiation therapy. Certain drugs are also given depending on the stage of the lymphoma. So we have this ABVD protocol, which is usually done at the start. So this consists of giving adriamycin, bleomycin, vinblastine, and dacarbazine. We have the Stanford 5 regimen, which is usually given in stage 1 or stage 2. This consists of doxorubicin, vinblastine, mechlorethamine, etoposide, vincristine, bleomycin, and prednisone. And we have the Biacop protocol, which is usually given in a more advanced stage. So this consists of bleomycin, etoposide, doxorubicin, cyclophosphamide, vincristine, procarbazine, and prednisone. Stem cell therapy is also another option as well.
Okay, so that was our A to Z when it comes to Hodgkin's lymphoma. So I'm going to bring up our guest, Miss Keiwanna Lewis.
Hi.
And Keiwanna was with us a couple of weeks ago with her beautiful daughter, Layel, and we kind of talked about bullying and childhood obesity and eating disorders, and they did an amazing job. So I had to just bring her back, of course. And now we're going to talk about something that's another situation that's personal to you is that you actually are a survivor of
Yes.
Hodgkin's lymphoma. So first, before we begin, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to get into your story.
So, yes, I am Keiwanna Lewis, and I am a Hodgkin's lymphoma survivor. I was diagnosed very, very early on.
Good.
I actually was in college at the time. I was in the middle of my undergraduate degree, and I started to feel extremely, extremely tired. Now, mind you, I was a kid who ridiculously would sleep long periods of time. I'm known for being a 12-hour sleeper.
All right.
So,
Wow.
I love to sleep. That was my
Mhm.
thing. But I found myself being even more tired. That no matter how much I tried to sleep, lay down, rest, that I would still be fatigued.
Mm.
And it got to the point where it affected my whole function throughout the day.
Oh, wow.
And then I started to throw up a lot, where it would happen every day. I started to develop night sweats, and I would get extreme anxiety.
Hmm.
So I went to the emergency room, and they run their tests, the doctors, the nurse come in, and they sent me back, and
You
I'm
said
still
nothing was
having.
wrong with you?
Yeah, no, nothing happened. And they would just say, oh, you're just a very sick young person. And, you know, it was just, they just treated me as a kid who pretty much did not know how to take care of themselves.
Oh, wow.
So, mind you, I went back several times. So it wasn't a situation where I just went to the emergency room like once or twice. I went several
Right.
times
Right.
because I kept having problems. And they were like, oh, you're anemic, just take iron pill. They just really thought that I was a college student, not taking
Right.
care of myself, which who takes
Uh-oh, we lost your audio, Kiwana. Can you hear?
Oh, can
Okay,
you
I can hear you.
hear me? Yeah. So who actually, goes to the emergency room if they're doing this to themselves? They don't actually want help. So after going repeated times, the last time I went, I was actually feeling, my heart beating very, very quickly.
Mm.
And the ambulance came, picked me up from school. And my mom had showed up at the hospital, and there was a nurse there who told her that I needed to maybe go see an internist. And so
Right.
they gave us a card of an internist. And I don't know if you've had any experience with emergency rooms or when they think
Mhm.
that you don't have insurance.
Oh, yeah.
One, one of my emergency room stints, they had me laying out on the bed in the hallway.
No way.
I wasn't even
Wow.
in the room. I was in the hallway
Wow.
because I told them, oh, I didn't have insurance. And it's because I didn't know the insurance information because I had it through my mom's work.
Right,
So I
right,
was insured under her. So I didn't
right,
know any of the insurance information. So
right.
I told them, hey, I don't have insurance. And they left me in the hallway until my mom showed up and said, no, she has insurance. In fact, she has very good insurance. She has a PPO. And that's when they put me in a room.
Wow.
Yes, but they were going to leave me in that hallway indefinitely until they got around to me because
To
I
you.
wasn't, yeah, because I wasn't a priority because I didn't have insurance. So they just left me there and they saw everybody else. As soon as she showed up and said, hey, you have insurance, then
They
they took
changed
me
all of
into,
that. Was this
yeah,
in California?
yes,
Okay. And how
yes.
many times, Kiwana, will you say you actually went to the doctor before this last incident? How many times did you go to the hospital?
I went to the hospital emergency room, I would say at least 4 or 5 times.
In the span of how much time? Like 5 months, 6 months, a year?
No, I'm going to say in the period of November to about January, because I was diagnosed in January. So I'm gonna say
Wow.
from the so like all of in a period of like a month and a half. Yeah, because this happened like when I started to be like, you know what, I'm just not feeling great because I dropped a lot of weight. I dropped
Oh,
down to
wow.
90 pounds.
Oh, wow.
I was about 115. I dropped down to 90 pounds. Like I said, I was throwing up every day. I was extremely
Right.
fatigued. Like I couldn't hold anything down. And I'm like, this is not normal. Like there's something
Right.
wrong with me. Like I
Right.
said, my heart's feeling like it's going to beat out my chest, and I'm
Right.
telling them all these things. They're like, oh, take some vitamins, take iron pills. You look very pale, and I'm like, at the time, not even knowing. It's like, yeah, because I'm dying. That's
Yeah.
why. you
Right.
know?
And I'm
So it
young.
was
I guess they were blowing you off because you were young,
yes,
which is
yes. They
crazy.
I'm just a college student not taking care of myself. That's it. And I don't, and I will, for anyone who feels like they have something going on with them, listen to your instinct. Like, take it from
Yeah.
somebody who knows, listen to your instinct. Just
Right.
because you
Right.
don't have a medical degree, do not
Be
let these
about it.
professionals tell you that everything's fine if
Right.
you know that you're not, because nobody knows your body better than
Like
you.
you.
You live in your skin every day. I
Right.
don't care that I didn't go to medical school. Okay.
Right.
I don't care that
Right.
I don't have this training. I'm an expert in me,
Right.
period. So I knew then something wasn't right. So that's why I kept going back. And finally, that last emergency room go, one of the nurses gave us a card to an internist office, who I still see, very, very great. And we went, their office ran tests that day and said, you are a very sick little girl, and
Oh,
they should not have released you. And I'm going to send you back right now. So
wow.
this is just being in their office just from that day after I had left the emergency room, going to their office, them running their tests. Mind
Right.
you, they did this in their office, not in the hospital.
Right.
They ran their tests, saw that there was something wrong. They sent me back immediately, then ran more tests when I was in the hospital.
Right.
And then the doctor came into the room and she said, "You have cancer."
Wow. So what was your first thought when she said that? Your mom was right there with you, right?
No, she wasn't. She actually went back to work.
Okay.
So yeah, so she took me to the hospital, back to the hospital. They admitted me, and she actually had to leave, but she was coming back.
Right. I
But
understand.
when I got told, she wasn't. She hadn't come back yet.
Okay. Okay. So what
Yeah.
was your first thought? Like, were you like, did I hear that right? Or did you say, okay, yeah, I kind of figured something was going on?
It was one of those things where I never thought I was going to hear cancer, And
Yeah.
again, I'm 19. Like,
Right.
I just turned 19 at that. So,
Right.
I'm freshly into my alleged adulthood here.
Right.
I'm still a teen. It's a weird age. You're that
Right.
teen adult. I'm 19, but I'm adult. So it's very weird. And,
Right.
I'm in school. And my first thought is, which, of course I'm a kid, but my first thought is, I have to stop my life to take care of this. Like, I have to stop school. I have to derail everything that I've been working so hard for to go through this treatment. Because,
Right.
they, with them telling me this, and, I cried because I'm like, is this, taking over my life? And, it's cancer, that, something serious. And even though they kind of gave me, that time estimate, this is still like, okay, well, who knows how I'm gonna, have to deal with this. Like, this is not something that typically anyone my age has to deal with. You hear
Right.
about kids in the hospital all the time, and much younger than I
Mhm.
was, fighting for their lives, which is
Right.
extremely impressive.
Right.
And it doesn't become a reality until it's you or until it's your loved one. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, I literally have to fight for my life right now.
Right.
Like, this
What's the,
thing is literally killing me off.
did they tell you what stage you had? Was it
No, but I believe, or they might have. You know
Mhm.
what? Let me not say that,
Mhm.
because a lot of information that they did tell me, I
Okay.
forgot, just because it was hard to read going through treatment, which they told me that's why I had to stop school. I wasn't going to
Yeah.
remember a lot of things. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, so that's why I had to stop everything. And even for what was it, like 6 months to a year after, I still couldn't, jump right back in because
Okay.
of the whole retention thing. But
Okay.
it was, they caught it pretty early, so it should have been stage 1. It was, they said, like, a size of, what was it, a golf ball or tennis ball, in my stomach, in my abdomen. So they did an initial biopsy, and on my crotch, and they couldn't get the tissue sample that they needed. So they went direct. So they did a second biopsy directly into my abdomen, which I still have the scar there, that they went in and they did the sample tissue, and that's where the actual cancer was. And then that's how they determined that it was cancer and what it was. So I was praying that it was benign, but I didn't get that lucky. Mhm.
Right. Okay. So
Mhm.
okay. So they come. They tell you that you have cancer. They take this tissue sample. You
Mhm.
call your mom. You're trying to process all of this. You're like, my life is stopping. Did you ever think that your life would be cut short because of this? Or you knew that you would beat it right off the bat?
I did not. I did not. Um, I did at one point. I was actually ready to give in. I was exhausted, and I was just tired, and I didn't want to fight anymore. I didn't. And I just told my mom, I was like, they are looking at me like they're expecting me to die, and I'm just tired. And she was like, no, I'm not going to let that happen. So she said, I'm going to leave you one more time. And she left. she quit her job and she moved into the hospital with me. And she was there with me for the 3 months that I had to stay in that hospital. I had my first chemotherapy treatment in that hospital bed.
Wow. So you were in the hospital for 3 straight months for
Yep,
treatment.
laying in that bed. I had
Wow.
someone come in to do physical therapy, but when I left, I was in a wheelchair. Like I wasn't walking upright. They were teaching me how to sit up because I had the surgery. So yeah, when I left, I was in a wheelchair. I had my first treatment there, so I literally had to do the whole learning how to walk again and gaining my strength back. And I was on ice chips. I had 3 blood transfusions because they couldn't do the surgery without the transfusions because it would have killed me off. I went to have what they call as a PIC line to do I still have the scar right there from when they put it into, you probably can't see it, but they actually put in the little port, but it was actually supposed to be an external one. And I or no, I'm sorry, an internal one where the little disc where you wouldn't be able to see it. But the day I went in to get it, I actually caught an infection. So they couldn't do the surgery. So I had to wait and they had to treat that first. And then I had to go back. And then they did the PIC line where they actually had the 2 ports hanging out and they had to tape it down. And so that's where they have one for drawing the blood and one for the actual pushing of your treatments, because I was there every week. And they would regularly have to do tests and give me my chemotherapy treatment all in that same port. So every week I had about 5 different doctors I had to see. So I had my internist, I had my oncologist, I had the surgeon, I had the nutritionist, and the physical therapy.
So when was it that you said, okay, I'm going to fight? I know your mom was like, she's not going to let you give up. But when did Keiwanna in here say, you know what, I'm not going to give up, I'm going to fight?
Uh, you know what? Honestly, it took a while because like I said, I was just tired. And even going through that whole being inside, because the only person I got to see was my mom and my doctors. So I didn't see family, didn't see friends. I didn't go anywhere but home, doctors, home. That's it. Because my immune system was so bad that any contact with an outside person could cause me an infection and could kill me. So I just wasn't allowed that interaction. So there wasn't people at the house at all. It was just me and her there. And it was a lot of stress and anxiety and tears and just trying to get a hold of myself. And it took a while. It literally took months. I think once I finished the treatments, and they were kind of saying, okay, you're gonna done with this stage, and just kind of getting a grip and feeling like I can start thinking about returning to my regular things and kind of tapping in to my faith. And that's why I'm a big advocate of art and art therapy, because that's what I had laying in that bed, drawing and creating to just give myself that kind of relief in therapy and catharsis there. I needed that because I didn't have too much anything else. And just kind of reconnecting back with my faith, it slowly came back, but it took a while. It wasn't an instant thing. It wasn't something like, oh yeah, I just knew it. I had the faith in God. And I would love to say that, but that just wasn't my reality. I was just like, Lord, I'm tired. If you're gonna take me, if you're gonna kill me, like I'm not having much I'm looking forward to right now. Like, it's okay. I am ready. Like, I reserved I'm ready. Like, I'm ready. It's okay. I didn't. So it literally took, so I would say a good year at least before I start thinking about like, okay, I'll have some hope into putting some effort into, making a real effort at fighting out my life. Like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. But I still had the attitude of, I am not going to go through this again. So if it comes back, which I was on a 5-year probation. So if it comes back, then I'm not going to go through treatment again. Like, I did this one time for you. Like I told my mom, like, I did this one time for you. So if they tell me like it's coming back, I'm not going through the treatment again. Like, this was rough. It was miserable. I didn't like it, So I'm like, the first time was for
Wow.
you.
Right.
Yeah. The second time, I'm not going to do this again. So,
Okay. Wow. Wow. So let's talk about the treatment. You said it was really rough. What was the hardest part about the treatments?
I would say the hours in that chair and having to, like, you're tasting the poison going through your body. So you're sitting there and you're just in that chair, and the nurses, they try to, make you comfortable and enjoy it, but I mean, you're just sitting there and you're just like, okay, let's hope these poison cycles, work. When I was in the hospital, I was in the bed and they were doing the treatments, and they had to literally find somebody who had been there long enough that knew how to do it, because nobody else did it. So I was in and out of consciousness, and every time I woke up, there was new people standing at the end of my bed. So I was like waking up to like one person, and then two, then three, and five, and I'm like, all these people, and they're coming in because they've never seen anybody having to go through treatment. There was nobody there to, that actually knew. So it was like this one person that was giving me. So they were all coming in to try to learn from this person that knew how to do it. And it was just kind of like, it was very uncomfortable, and like, you feel it getting pushed in, and this thing is running from my arm down through my heart. So, you feel it going in, and it's not always comfortable. Sometimes it kind of burns, it, hurts a little bit, like it's not supposed to. And then they gotta flush it out and find out what's wrong. Like all of that was just uncomfortable. Like every time I took a shower, I have to have a plastic bag that I have to wrap this thing up because it can't get wet. So, like I have to work around this thing. Like, it's not something where I just, jump in, take a shower. So I had to make special accommodations. So I had to do this regularly where, I have to figure out how to clean myself and not damage it, figure out how to not get an infection. And like, if I get an infection, they got to pull this whole thing out again and, like run it through. Like, so it's all of these accommodations. And like I said, I could literally taste it. I, it's very vivid where I still know what the taste of saline tastes like. So, it's, yeah. So,
Wow. Still to this day.
yes. The chemo pack and the saline, like, I have very vivid memories where I could still taste it. Like, I can't explain to you what the taste is like, but I can taste it. Like the color flashes in my mind as I'm thinking about
Right.
the taste of this going through my veins. So, I mean, all of that itself was just very, very unpleasant. And then not knowing with the steroids, because I had gotten so small that they just
Right.
told her to feed me anything. So I'm like, so then I'm rapidly gaining weight, my doctor's
Right.
like, okay, slow down. And, you
Mhm.
know, and then coming out of that and being told, hey, so remember when, you signed over these papers, we told you that you might not be able to have children. So that was a whole thing where
Oh,
it's like,
wow.
okay, yeah, like, when was I going to remember that? I was going through treatment and I wasn't going to remember anything. This is why you said I couldn't go to school. And you're telling me, like, oh, don't you remember when you gave me this disclaimer? No, I do not, sir.
No.
I'm sorry. I don't.
Wow. So
So,
when they brought that back to your attention about not being able to have children, um, what was your first thought outside of I don't remember this, but what was
right.
your second thought, I should say?
Well, that was a devastating thing because,
Mhm.
that was part of my image for my future, that I would graduate, college and get my degree, have a career, have my condo
Right.
on the beach and get
Right.
married and, have kids. And then we told, like, hey, you're not going to, that it's a possibility. Like, you will never actually birth your own children, which
Wow.
is, devastating. And that
Okay.
was a conversation that I had with my husband. Like, I don't know. Like, I know you want children, but, they told me I may not
Limit.
be able to have kids,
Right.
so
And then you
I
guys
don't,
are what, 3 kids in? How many children do
yes,
you
yes. We
I
are
love it.
3 kids
I
in.
love
So,
it.
when they
3
tell
kids.
you, yes, I have birthed some beautiful, healthy
Yeah.
babies, I am proud to say. And,
Yeah.
it
God.
was just like my miracle baby came,
Yes.
and I was
It
very
was
happy.
Keiwanna,
And
right? Was Keiwanna the oldest? Is she the oldest, or you have one over her? And not Keiwanna, I'm sorry, Lael. Is Lael the oldest?
yeah, she is the oldest, but she's
Okay.
actually, yes, but she's actually my stepdaughter. So it's my son.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So my son, yeah. So the middle child, yes, he's my first baby
Okay, and
coming
how old is
out,
he?
and he just turned 4 at the end of July.
Oh,
Yes.
okay,
And
okay.
then, yes, and then I got to birth another miracle. So just in case, thought this was a fluke,
Right, right.
which was another thing going in, when you go into a relationship, and, yes, I am her mom, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, she doesn't, her mom has passed away.
Aw.
But uh, even though, which she had sickle cell, so she,
Mm,
and that was also something that made me nervous. Her mom died
right,
from the sickness, me having the history that I have,
right,
having to make the decision to take care of myself and my children, and not
right,
having her with another mom that's not around, is,
right, right.
yeah. But,
Wow, that is so powerful. That is so
yeah,
powerful. So, of course, your mind has changed now that, you're gonna fight until the bitter end now that you have these 3 miracles in your house.
yes.
And but man, you've been, what is it, 14 years remission? How many 18 years remission?
18, yes,
Oh my
yes. I
gosh.
just I checked, and I didn't even realize how long it been. I was diagnosed January of 2004. My last chemotherapy treatment, because they caught it early, was
Yeah,
in August of 2004.
4, okay. And it's
Yes.
been smooth sailing
So,
ever since outside of the just getting back strong and all that, but it's
well,
been so, yeah,
mm,
let's talk about any other health issues you've had because of that.
yes. So I did end up with a blood clot in my left
Okay.
leg, where I had to be hospitalized, which was another concern when I got pregnant. I had to go on the blood thinners and the
Yeah.
pills. So, but yeah, I did end up having, a blood clot with the swelling of the leg. So I was hospitalized twice for swelling in my
Okay.
leg.
Okay.
And I went to a hospital in 2007 where my left arm went numb. And they wanted to make
Oh,
sure that I didn't have a traveling clot.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you
So,
did not when they checked it, you did not?
no, no, I did not at that time, thankfully.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Lord.
So,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
thankfully.
Okay.
So it may have just been a lot of stress that I was under at that time, where,
Mhm.
that was kind of happening. But yeah, but they told me, if I feel any kind of numbness, to go to the hospital right away, because it
Immediately.
because it could be a clot, and it travels to my brain, that I would die
Mhm.
instantly. So,
Right. Right.
and mind you, when I had this leg clot, I didn't go to the doctor till Friday. It swelled up on Monday, and I
Wow.
was working out a lot then. Like, I was in the gym like 5, 6 days a week for
Right.
hours, working out, and I was fit, was looking good. I feel myself. I
Right,
had
right.
back. It was 2013. I was like, this is my year
Right.
number 13. So I
Right.
was like, okay.
Right.
And yeah, so my legs swelled up, and I'm thinking like I just aggravated it. I'm sitting in the sauna like, oh, it'll go down. Swell.
Right.
Yes, and it did not. And I didn't go to my doctor until Friday. Drove over there, and I called my mom, and I'm like, oh, I need you to come pick me up. My doctor said that I have a blood clot, and I need to go to the hospital right away. And of
Wow.
course, she's breaking every
You
speed
think
law
I
known to
know to get to her
man.
child. Right.
get there to me. I had to leave my car at the doctor's office. And and then in what was it, 2016, we were in Costco, and my mom's looking at my leg, and she's like, "Why is it swollen?" And so we had to sit down at the optometry in Costco, and then she
Right.
had to take me to the hospital. Then so yeah, so I've
Okay.
I've had some setbacks. So yeah, so
Okay.
it's been 18 years for her. It's been more like 4 years that she feels like she could say that I've kind of been out of the woods. Yes.
Right, right, right. So
Yes.
does this particular cancer run in your family?
No, what I was told was that it was common in my age group. So a lot of what they were
Oh,
saying in the video was kind of true of like,
okay.
yes, you can get it like if you have a family history, but at
Mhm.
that time they said that it was common in my age group and they really couldn't tell me what caused it.
Oh, okay.
So, a lot of my health issues since I've been diagnosed with Hodgkins has been a lot of unexplained things. When
Oh,
I had the
wow.
blood clot, they couldn't tell me how that happened. Even though I had
Right,
enlarged lymph nodes in that leg,
right,
they
right,
said that the Hodgkins didn't come back, but it
right.
was enlarged, and I did have a clot. I was also peeing blood at the same time, but they
Oh,
said that the blood in the urine and my leg didn't have anything to do with each other. And so, me, of course, I don't have a medical degree, but my mom
right.
told me, if these are happening
At the
literally at the
same
same
time.
time, but they're not connected. I don't know. I don't know. So
Yeah.
it didn't make sense to
Mm,
me in my mind, but I'm like, okay, but it's still, you can't tell me how it happened. So I'm
right,
not going to rule it out because you can't tell me how it happened. So to me, it's all connected because if you don't
right,
know how it happened, and you don't know how the blood clot happened, you don't know how the blood in the urine happened. So
right,
to me, something's going on in my body and you guys just haven't pinpointed it yet
right, 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 right,
of what this situation is. But they ran all of their tests that they knew they can run. I saw a urologist and everything, and to this day nobody can tell me how I got the cancer, why I had the clot, why I had the urine
wow.
thing. Like, none of it. It's just kind of like, well, you're healthy now, so
Right, right. So that was my next question. So right now you would say that you're pretty healthy?
yes. So I
Okay.
actually haven't needed to even though obviously it's great to still keep up, with your checkups, but it hasn't
Mhm.
been so much of a need that I, have to go to, my oncologist every year to check in because, everything's been great. It's
Right.
um I did have a little cyst, but it ended up going away on its own. So I was actually going to
Okay.
have surgery for that, and that kind of went away. But yeah,
Okay.
but ever
That's good.
since, yeah, after 2017, yeah, I haven't really had any issues. Everything's been great. Like I said, delivered two healthy boys.
Yeah. 5 years clean, you should say. 5 years, like 5 years, nothing. So what
Yes.
would you tell a person that's going through what you've gone through? What would you wish you had did differently now looking back? Eh,
I would say to not give up on yourself, to definitely don't take the word of a professional when you know something's wrong. It's
Right.
keep fighting for yourself. Get a second
Right.
opinion. Now, I was
Mhm.
young. I didn't know what my resources were. And
Gotcha.
I would say seek out your resources. You know, get an advocate, an ally, so
Right.
that you can find out. If nothing is wrong, that's great. That's awesome. But you got it verified. But
Right.
never let someone tell you something against your instincts when it's screaming at you that this is not right. Just keep
Right.
fighting. Just keep fighting for yourself, and be diligent. You have to, because not everybody is always going to act in your best interest. And I don't
Right.
think that they were being malicious. I just
Mhm.
think that it's one of those situations of they did the bare minimum.
Okay. And do you
And
think it was because they didn't think you had insurance initially? Or do you think it was just regardless, whether you had insurance or not, that they did the bare minimum?
I think it was just regardless
Okay.
because, even after that, they
Okay.
still had conflicting, information of, yeah, they're kind of seeing this on the test. And I don't even know what all tests they ran. I just know
Okay.
when my internist ran her test, she
Right.
immediately saw it that one time. It
One
didn't take
time.
her several times to need to look at this.
Wow.
So they saw this right away. So I just think that, it's an emergency room. Like, I didn't have, a set doctor that I was seeing,
Mm-hmm.
in LA at the time, where
Okay.
they could say, you know, hey, this doesn't look right. Like,
Right.
you
Gotcha.
dropped 20
10
pounds
pounds.
in the course of a week, in 10 days. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
you
wow.
know,
That weight dropped just in that short amount of time?
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So it's like
So they didn't even pick up on that. So because they're supposed to weigh you every time you come into the hospital. So they didn't even pick up on the weight loss.
I was already so thin by then that I don't think it changed very much. So I
Okay.
think it was another one of those things where they probably thought I was anorexic or bulimic or something, and
Off the back. Right.
you know,
Okay.
they were just like, oh, it has to be an eating disorder or something that I wasn't saying, or maybe I was on drugs.
Right.
I'm a young Black kid too, as well. I have
Right.
to take that into consideration. Like, we're in
Right.
LA, and I'm a college
Yeah.
student, and I'm also a Black female, and so who knows what the prejudice? They may not have any, or they may have had it, or they were
Right.
just, emergency rooms are busy and filled, and they're dealing with this kid, and who
Right.
knows if
Right.
they're getting all the information from me. So they're gonna tell me, okay, the bare minimum. But
Right.
emergency rooms, unless you get a really great doctor who is advocating for you, they're not your doctor. So
Yeah.
they are not equipped to run tests that your particular doctor has to run.
There.
So even when you go to
Okay.
the hospital, they still wait for your doctor to show up to run
Oh.
extra tests. So your doctor has to order certain tests to be taken anyway. So that's why
Wow.
I said
Okay.
I think that, unless you have an advocate, unless you have a doctor ordering things on
Right.
your behalf, they did the bare minimum. So they were never going to catch it.
Wow. Well, they caught it, and so you're, of course, in remission. So, how long did it take you to get back in school to finish your degree and then get married and have your kids? So, was it like back to back to back?
Uh, no, not really, because
Okay.
I ended up, let's see, so about a year later, I got to
Mm-hmm.
go back and finish my undergraduate degree,
Okay.
um, for that. So I finished my bachelor's, and then
Mm-hmm.
there was a year break in between before I went back to get my master's degree.
Okay.
And then I finished that. I didn't meet my husband until 2016.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah. So he actually was there with one of so my last two stints going to the hospital. We had
Okay.
just gotten together, and
Okay.
I remember texting him saying, "Hey, at the hospital in the emergency room, leg swelled up. Everything is fine. Let you know what happens. Kid you not, later." He's like flying through the door. And I'm like,
Right.
everything is fine, but that was one of the things where I knew I had a keeper then. We were just freshly dating, and he was just,
Yeah.
you know, he showed
Completely
up to
changed.
me. Yeah.
Right.
Showed
Right.
up, and he
Cared.
was there at my side, and he was just like, "No,
Mhm.
you said you were in the hospital.
That's all
I'm
I
gonna
need to
make
hear.
sure." Right. He stopped listening after
Right.
that, and he showed up, and yeah, so he was there, and he sat
Wow.
by my bedside and held my hand the whole time. So
Right.
yeah.
And you mentioned, so you told him obviously you weren't sure if you can have children, and so he didn't care. He just loved
No,
you
he
enough to
just,
just go for it.
yeah. I mean, he gave me all of the, okay. Well, we'll try the other paths. We'll
Right.
try the in vitro, or we'll adopt. And he's like, as
Oh,
long as I get to have a family with you, and which is, it's comforting, but still, as a woman,
yeah.
with that this is my role. You know, this is the
Mhm.
one thing that I'm supposed to be able to give you as a woman. And, you know, with him already having a child, it's just
Mhm.
kind of like for me not to be able to birth a child of, you know, ours is, you know, would be really, really rough and tough. And it was just kind of like, you know, this might break me if I can't give you kids,
Oh,
you know? Like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to emotionally handle that. And,
okay.
you know,
Did you go into prayer, or what did you do before you or so in your mind, did you say, okay, I'm gonna have kids, Lord, you're gonna have to work this out? Or did you just kind of like, was it like a Hail Mary, like, Lord, please
it was more,
bless me,
it was
Father?
more like a please, like, Lord, I mean, you know what's gonna happen. You know the
Yeah,
desires of my heart. I am
right.
just praying that this is what you have for me. Like, please, you know, like I don't,
Mhm.
you know, I'm not gonna take this well. Like, you already know me, you know that I'm not gonna
Right.
take this well. Like, you know, please, you know the desires of my heart. I just, you know, and it's like months and months, and you know, like I'm crying, and it's just like, and then, you know, to finally get the confirmation, and it was still one of those like, okay,
Are you?
until we go to the doctor. But I mean, like he was like overjoyed, you know, and then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, you know, we went to the doctor, and I was already scheduled for my yearly checkup.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went there, I told her, oh, you know, by the way, you know, I need a pregnancy test. And she was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay. But I thought I was gonna have to I don't know, like wait for like the urine test or something or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Did they do blood tests, or what kind of test did they do? Blood?
Um no, I think they just did the urine test. Like they
Urine test.
just
Okay.
the urine test. And so I told her like, oh, you know, we're waiting for a pregnancy test. But she just was like, oh, okay, well, let's see. So I don't know if she already like looked at or like what happened, but she just went to the machine, and you know, she did a little wand thing over my belly, and she goes,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you're pregnant. It's right there, and the little dot, and you can, and she turns up the machine, and you can hear the heartbeat, and it's a little like we have the video.
What?
Yes, I completely forgot to tell you. Like, yes, I could have showed you the
How
video.
far along were you at that point? Would you
I
say?
mean, it was the dot, like literally within
You can
the
hear the
10 days
heartbeat.
of like, yeah, this, and it's literally it's like on the little screen. It's this big,
Yeah.
just this little dot. It's not a person, not anything, just a pulse,
Yeah.
and you can hear the heartbeat. And she was like, yeah, this little heart right there. That's
Wow.
what I'm posting. Yeah.
Wow. Was your husband there with you, or did you like have to call him after you left the
No, no, no.
appointment?
He was there. He took me because we were
Oh.
trying to get it confirmed.
Oh,
So
okay.
he was
Okay.
there
So he
sitting
did.
with me, yeah, for us
Did he
to
pass out, or
ponder.
what did he do? Did you get
No,
that on
no, no.
video?
He was excited. Oh, he was like super excited.
Oh, thank you,
He's the one who recorded the screen.
Lord.
So he was there with
Oh,
his camera. He was
wow.
recording the screen. So he was more excited than I was. Because I was sitting there and I was nervous, and the hands in, and he was taking photos and videos the whole time we were there. So he was like
Oh,
waiting to find out. So yeah, he was more excited than I was. So I
what a
was still like kind of
blessing.
like in shock, like this is, you know, really happening. And he's just like, yes,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. That is a blessing, man.
Yeah.
So during that time, were you like doing a health regimen, taking vitamins when you were trying to get pregnant? Were you living a really healthy lifestyle during that time? Would
So
you
yeah,
say?
so after during that period of what was it? 2012
Mm-hmm.
on,
Mm-hmm.
because we had already, when I got diagnosed, we had already started to change, you know, my diet from what I was eating to, you know, be,
Mm-hmm.
you know, healthy. And
Mm-hmm.
after my mom and I joined the UFC gym, we started to, you know, work out, you know, because she wanted to get healthy, and she used to be a bodybuilder. So, you know, she, you know, with us
What?
being inside, yes, she had ended up gaining some, you know, she had gained some weight, and and that's how I was so fit in school. She had me running bleachers in high school. So she was no
Wow.
stranger to being healthy. Yes. So yeah. So she
Okay,
was a
mom.
right, yes. It was a hobby. She
Wow.
never did any competitions, but it was just kind of her hobby when she was going through paralegal school.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so she was working out and bodybuilding. So when we got back into it after I was done with my master's degree, and we just started trying to focus on getting healthy and fit again, and going to the gym, and
Yeah.
that's when we got into a really really strict diet. Like we were working with a trainer, like we had
See.
cut out dairy.
Yep, that's the biggest thing, cutting out. Yep.
Yeah, we cut out the salts, sugars, oils. Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah, we only had our vegetables. We had baked chicken or turkey. So yeah, so nothing fried, nothing breaded, and what else? We didn't even have fruit for a while. We added in fruit kind of later into our
Right.
just because of the sugars, but that
Yeah.
initial kind of like shedding the pounds and weight from our bodies. That's just kind of what our regimen on. We had oatmeal for breakfast. We
Yeah.
did the egg whites,
Mm-hmm.
and this was obviously before I went vegan.
Right. Right.
And we did
Wow.
that for 3 months, and then so I was already, so when we decided to go vegan because our daughter had stomach issues when
Mm-hmm.
I was pregnant with our last son. He Yeah, that whole time I was vegan. So
See, yeah,
yeah.
I keep hearing the same thing. So this is something for people out there that's trying to conceive. Tracy Evans Dixon, who was on last week, talked about the same thing, that
Yeah.
she was having trouble conceiving, and she was 44, and
Hmm.
she just went to a holistic doctor, had her body completely cleaned out, and bam, bam, within did she say 60 days or something, she was pregnant with Tyson, her son. So that goes to show you that eating right and eating healthy really does
Yeah.
work. It really does work for those of you
Yes.
who are trying to
Yes.
conceive
So
and
yeah,
also
no, it was
trying to
awesome. It
stay
was
healthy.
4 months with my
Hmm.
first son. My second son, not as long. I think it was more like two.
See?
Yeah. So yeah.
Wow.
So definitely, yeah. But I was taking the vitamins, and trying to get all that, and like several different vitamins, trying to make sure I had the multivitamins. I was already taking the prenatals because they say
Yeah.
that's good for doing that before, and then
Right.
trying to do the omegas. I was the B12, and what else is the other one? The biotin. So I have
Yeah.
many different, vitamins that I was, taking and, trying to put into my body so that I was ready. And
Right.
still, making sure that I had a good regimen during and after.
Right.
It's also great for, milk production and, breastfeeding and all that. So I was
Right.
thankful
Right.
and very blessed to be able to breastfeed both.
Breastfeed.
Yes. Which I was worried about that too, because I've heard stories, of some women
Hmm.
not being able to, or the baby's not latching right.
Latching.
So yeah, and so I was,
Oh,
yeah, got into
I
that.
love these stories. I love these success stories. Wow,
Yeah. So
Keiwanna, this hour is almost up. God, this time
yeah.
is gone by. It's like your mom. Like, yeah, it seemed like it's the time is it's interesting when you were having fun. I guess they say that when you're having fun, time just flies by.
Right.
You look up, like, no, it's only been 10 minutes. Look up, no, it's an hour.
Right.
But
Exactly.
this has been amazing, amazing. So, is there anything that you want to leave the viewers with? Because this is going out all over the world. And we definitely want to leave a message of believing in yourself and, of
Yeah.
course, healing through our amazing Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. But what is it that you would like people to know? I know you mentioned don't give up on yourself. Anything else?
Yes. Yes. Be an advocate for yourself. Trust your instincts. Definitely. I would say take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go vegan like I did. Vegan was the right path for me. It made me
Mm-hmm.
feel better. A lot of, even for my family, a lot of the stomach issues that they had, they gotten better after being vegan. But you don't have to go vegan. You can just incorporate different vegan options just to make yourself healthier. It's all about
Right.
substituting healthier choices.
Right.
It's, hey, no one's saying that you can't ever have that deep fried dish that you love, but you
Right. Right.
have it all the time.
Fine.
It doesn't,
Right.
it doesn't
Don't
even
eat
need
the
to
whole
be
gallon of ice cream, guys. Don't eat the whole gallon. You can have
right.
some, but not the whole
Yes,
gallon. Wow.
exactly.
Okay.
Doesn't need to be a weekly ritual, but just, take care of yourself. Make those changes so
Mm-hmm.
that you don't have to permanently cut things out because it's gotten so bad. If you are
Right.
proactive now, then
Right.
it won't be so bad later. Just, and even those little things that they tell you to incorporate, it does make a difference. Try to take the stairs instead of always taking the elevator.
Right. Right.
Go for simple walks, even if it's, you're just walking around the block,
Yep.
or, if you're at an apartment, walking around that little patch of grass that you have, just
Yep.
some,
Yep.
all those little things, that I try to do. I walked when I was pregnant. Like I would, walk across the street, go to the store, walk back. One time I couldn't make it and I had to thankfully we have a shuttle and I was
Yeah.
picked
Yeah.
up by the shuttle to take it back because I was too fat to walk myself back. But
But you were trying. That's the
yeah,
key. You were trying. That's good. That's so
those little
good.
steps, just invest in yourself, take care of
Right.
yourself, listen to
Right.
your body, have those regular checkups with your doctors. Do not neglect those, because you
That's
missed
it.
that 1 year and that could be the 1 year that could have made the difference between saving your life or keeping yourself from jumping to the next stage. Because if I wasn't
Right.
diligent, I could have easily been in stage 2 or 3 or whatever it
Right.
was,
Right. Right. Oh,
prolonging.
that's so good. That
Yes,
is
so
so good, and that is
please
so true.
keep up. Yes, mark it on your calendar whenever those appointments come by. Like, don't miss them. Reschedule them. Jump back in. It's not as painful if you keep up with it. You won't have to do as much. I won't say everything's gonna come back 100% every time, because I don't know. I'm not
Right.
God, but you know, when we're doing our part, God shows up for us.
Yes, he
So
does.
we have to just do our part. Whatever your spiritual sources, whatever your journey, tap into it, stay connected, and just do your part for your mind, your body, your spiritual journey, all of it. And
Right. Right.
you you will thank yourself later. Like it
Right.
just makes a difference. I made a commitment and I said that I was going to do this, and I've stuck with it, and I feel better. I do.
That's good. And we can tell, we can tell. Man, this has been an amazing story. So thank you so much for coming back and allowing us to come inside of your intimate space with such a personal testimony. And we're hoping that someone out there would be blessed. So again, if
Yes.
you have any questions, put them in the comments section. If you're having a more private or a question that you're not comfortable with in the comment section, you're more than welcome to email me and I'll make sure Keiwanna gets it. That's Zandra Esselson Sam Wilson at yahoo.com. It's my name that's on the screen. Just put an S in between the Zandra and S, and then it's at Yahoo, and I'll get it to my sister, and she will get back to you with whatever answer. If she can answer it, obviously she will. Again, like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share this video for anyone that that need a blessing, that needs a healing, that needs some encouragement, that it is not over. Just because you're diagnosed with something, it does not mean that that's the end. So that's why I'm having these interviews and people coming on talking about their personal journey. So, well, thank you guys. Thank you so much, Keiwanna, for joining
Thank you for
us.
having me.
So much.
Yes.
This has been amazing, amazing, amazing. So, guys, again, next week, join us. We're going to have another guest on that's going to talk about her story and how she's overcome. Again, October is Cancer Awareness Month. And if you have any stories, you can upload them in the Healthier Church Challenge group, and we'd love to hear them. We would love to hear them. I will just, all you have to do is upload the video, and, we're going to screen some of the videos, obviously, make sure that they're on point. And then we just upload them and let everyone else hear and see your story. Okay. All right. Until next time. See you. Okay.
Bye.